Well, first off, thank you for taking time out to come out to the library here. Libraries are a great part of our community as well, and a great place for gathering. Just talking to our staff, one of the things we get asked most frequently about are some of the scams that are out there and ways to protect yourself. At the national level, I'm on the intelligence committee, and on the intelligence committee, one of the things that we worry about most are cyber crimes and vulnerabilities and so forth. And there's lots of simple things that you can do to protect yourself from those scammers, but also protect your vital information and so forth. As we bank a lot more online, healthcare information is online, we shop online, etc. So this was really put on by Josh on my staff in response to the needs that were coming from the community. Again, I want to thank the groups that are here helping support, and from the Sheriff's Department to the FTC to Supervisor Dedman's office, the Small Business Administration, and others. And again, there's so many simple things that we can do to protect ourselves, just like two-factor authentication sometimes, right? So that often we get busy in our lives, we forget to do it, we forget to add that separate step. So again, it's my hope that as we go through this workshop, as the folks present their information on how to protect yourself. I'm not the expert on this. I just know it's super important for us to do so. Again, I want to thank the folks that are presenting today and kind of going through the information and answering your questions. Thank you for being here. And again, it's one of the things that we can do to try to promote things. Josh or Kelly will also, or Anthony will also let you guys know about the Brain Health Forum that's coming up as well. That'll be on Citrus Heights. And again, that's also about healthy aging and taking care of yourself, the resources that are available. So that also is coming up in about 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks, October 2nd. Okay, maybe a month. So again, thank you for being here and thank you for taking time. You all.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have Julia Ensor from the Federal Trade Commission, who is going to speak to you all today. So I'm going to get back to the slides, and Julia, you're free to start whenever you're ready.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today. Really glad to be here. Sorry, my video was originally not letting me unblock myself, but here I am. In any event, I'm here to talk to you today about cybersecurity for small business. I'm an attorney here at the Federal Trade Commission in the Bureau of Consumer Protection. I'm going to start by just giving you a brief overview about what I'm going to talk about today. Next slide, please. Great. So today we're going to start out by talking a little bit about what the FTC is and our work with small businesses. And then we'll dive into some cybersecurity basics that you can use at your business. And then we'll talk about where you can find additional resources that can help you going forward. And, I'm a lawyer, so I always have to give a caveat. But before I go any further, I want to remind everybody that any views expressed today are my own and not necessarily those of any of my commissioners. Next slide, please. Let's start off by talking about the Federal Trade Commission. What is the FTC? So we are a small independent regulatory authority with very broad jurisdiction over almost every sector of the economy. Our mission is to protect all consumers. Consumers includes business owners. We protect consumers in a few different ways. So the thing that's in the news and you might hear about the most is we take enforcement action. We bring lawsuits against bad actors, against people who deceptively advertise to consumers and do other things that hurt consumers. That can be our most visible work. But perhaps more importantly, we also help people comply with the law on the front end to avoid having to take enforcement action on the back end. One area of focus is protection of consumer information and privacy. Today, I'm here in a counseling capacity. As a small business, you have a lot of sensitive information in your possession. So let's talk about how you can protect it. And we're especially focused today on information for small businesses that don't have their own legal or IT departments. Next slide, please. First, we're going to start with a few basic tips. Next slide. So the easiest way to protect information, whether it's your information or it's your customer's information, is not to collect it in the first place. So it seems really obvious, but anytime you're in a position where you think you need to collect consumer information, take a step back and ask yourself, do I really need this information? If you don't have information, you don't need to safeguard it or worry about a breach. Only collect information that you actually need. Next slide, please. Once you've made a decision to collect data, though, you need to be thinking about how to store that data. Secure storage has two components: physical security and electronic security. Data security starts with physical security. Weak physical security can expose sensitive data to identity theft. Think about it. What if a thief steals files after breaking in through an unlocked window, or an employee throws credit card records in the trash and people find them after business hours? Make sure that you are securing your physical premises. Lock your drawers, lock doors where sensitive information is kept. Limit physical access to data and information. And then be sure to send reminders to your employees. Think about implementing a clean desk policy at the end of the day. Lock up sensitive files. Don't leave them out on your desk. Once you have physical security under control, think about electronic security. Insist on using complex and unique passwords or passphrases that are stored securely. Lock users out of your systems after multiple unsuccessful login attempts. Sure, we all make a typo or leave caps lock on, so you might need a few tries to get into your system, but limiting unsuccessful logins is an easy defense to attack. Finally, multi-factor authentication can help protect against stolen identities, attacks, and reused passwords. Finally, remember, if your business is dealing with financial data, health data, or kids data, there are special rules and safeguards that apply, and these are more complex. So make sure that you know the applicable rules that apply to the data you handle. Next slide, please. When you're building your network, configure and monitor it for security. Think security when designing your network. Remember that not every user on your system needs access to everything on your network. Restrict access to sensitive data and limit administrative access, which is the type of access that allows users to make system-wide changes to your system. Only employees that are actually tasked with that job need that kind of access. Also be thinking about the way that your employees access your system. Make sure that they've taken steps to secure their own remote access points. Your employees and your vendors should use secure connections when connecting to your network. They should use a router with WPA2 or WPA3 encryption when connecting from homes. Encryption protects information sent over the network so outsiders can't read it. Segment your network. Use firewalls and other tools to limit access between computers on the network and between computers and the internet. Again, not every computer, not every user on your network needs to be able to communicate and access every other one. Protect particularly sensitive data by housing it in a separate secure place on your network. Have a system in place to monitor activity on your network. Look for unauthorized access. Consider using endpoint detection and response tools, which can help you monitor your network for malicious activities. Remember, hackers exploit weakness, so check that network for unauthorized users or connections. Protect your wireless network. There are two components to this. If you offer a network to your employees or customers, set up your router securely. Your router is what directs traffic between your local network and the internet. Any device within range can pull the signal from the air and access the internet. If you don't secure your router, strangers can gain access to that sensitive information on your devices. Change the name of your router from the default and change the password from the default. Hackers know the default passwords, so change yours to something that only you know. Keep the router software up to date. Make sure the encryption feature is turned on. The other aspect to your wireless network is to think about what you're doing if you're offering a Wi-Fi connection for your customers. Set up a second public network that is separate from the network your business devices use. Next slide, please. So the other side of thinking about what you store and where to store it is thinking about what to do with data when you're done with it. This can be tough for some of us that are inclined to hang on to data or information just in case, but be thinking continuously about whether you have data that you don't need anymore. Remember, this goes back to what we talked about first. If you don't have it, you don't need to protect it. So think about whether you need to maintain all of the data you have. When you've made a decision that you don't need that data anymore, discard it securely. Secure disposal means a few things. Again, remember that weak physical security exposes data to identity theft. So don't just throw sensitive paperwork in the trash. Use a shredder. Keep an inventory of devices that your business uses. Only keep what you need and know who has access to those devices. Wipe devices completely before you discard them. And then finally, remember that data can hide in different places on your network. So if you make a decision to purge data in one place, make sure that you've completely purged it from anywhere else it's stored on the network. Next slide, please. Beyond your in-house control, keep security principles in mind when you're hiring vendors. For example, maybe you hire a web host to help you create or update a website. You could ask things like, do you offer TLS or transport layer security? You may have heard of SSL. TLS is the newer version and make sure customers get to your real website when they type your URL in the address bar. It also makes sure that the information sent to your website is encrypted, which is really important if you're taking credit card information. You could also ask things like, can you set up email authentication? Who's going to be responsible for software updates? And who's responsible for making changes to the website when needed? Make sure that security is part of your contract and monitor your provider's compliance. Next slide, please. Know that even if you're prepared, sometimes attacks happen. On the screen, I have a couple of different common cyber attacks that your business might face. We'll just talk very briefly about them. A ransomware attack could look like someone in your family, in your company getting an email that looks really legitimate, but when you click on a link or download an attachment, everybody gets locked out of the network. That link downloaded software that holds your data hostage. And then the attacker asks you for money or cryptocurrency to get your information back. You've probably heard of phishing. You get an email that looks like it's from somebody you know. Maybe it even looks like it's from somebody within your business or from a vendor. You click on a link or you provide information when they ask for a network password, and then they gain access. Email imposter, similar. Scammer sets up an email address that looks like it's from your business. They send out messages using that email address. Sometimes it's also called spoofing. One of my favorites is the tech support scam. This is near and dear to my heart because my dad seems, for whatever reason, particularly vulnerable to falling for these. So no, Microsoft is not calling. Scammers may pretend to be from a well-known tech company. They use a lot of technical terms to convince you that there are problems with your computer. They might ask you to open some files or even run a scan on your computer and then tell you those files or the scan results show a problem, but there isn't one. With my dad, he installed the program and then they actually took control of his computer and got into all the data on there. So beware of that. No, Microsoft is not texting you. It's not calling. Ignore. So protect your business by having a plan, back up your data, keep your security up to date, and educate your staff. If you do have a machine that becomes infected, disconnect that affected machine from the network right away. Next slide, please. If a data breach occurs, have a plan. There's a guide for business on our website relating to how to respond to a data breach, but there are 3 basic steps to consider. So first, secure your system right away. The only thing that's worse than a data breach is multiple breaches. Take affected equipment offline immediately. Assemble a team of experts to help, including data forensics and legal counsel. Make sure you're not destroying evidence. Next, you need to fix vulnerabilities. Check, make sure your network is appropriately segmented, make sure your encryption is on. Finally, notify the appropriate parties. First step is determine the legal requirements that apply. Notify law enforcement. If there are personal health records involved, check to see if you're covered by the health breach notification rule. If so, you must notify the FTC and in some cases, the media. Finally, you're in all likelihood going to need to notify affected individuals. You can find a template for that notification letter on our website. Next slide, please. So in sum, a few keys for your business here to success when it comes to cybersecurity. Have a regular system for updates. Data security is an ongoing process. Regularly implement updates and patches. Watch the news, listen for issues. Listen for security warnings and move quickly when you find vulnerabilities. Train your staff regularly. Don't assume that your staff knows what to look for or how to avoid cyber attacks. Finally, make a plan. Again, things happen. Have a plan in place to address problems if they arise. Next slide, please. Here are a few resources that you can reference after today's presentation. There are a number of materials available on our website. We have 12 different modules that you can use to test your own knowledge of cybersecurity or that you can use to train your staff. There is a discussion guide for employers available there as well. Note that all of the materials are available in Spanish also. And we have other resources available at ftc.gov/smallbusiness. Next slide, please. And that's all I have for you today. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak with you today. I hope this was helpful and I'll stick around for questions.
Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you to you and Catherine from the FTC for making this presentation. They will be sticking around till the end of the program to answer any questions. But right now, I'm going to invite up Oksana from the Small Business Administration to also give a short presentation for people here in person, also over Zoom. So it's going on. And then I can do slides for you. You can stand and stay right there. Yeah. Ready to go whenever you are.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Oksana Zubritska. I'm allocation marketing specialist and representing Small Business Administration. We're the smallest federal agency, and we're located in Citrus Heights. What do? We help small businesses. If you have a small business already and if you'd like to expand, we have different resources for you. Or if you just have the idea and you really don't know how to start, so we also help with the business plan, cash flow projections. We cover 21 northern, eastern, and interior counties of California. We have 5 district offices like us in California, and we have 68 across the country, and we're one of them. Next slide. So just a brief overview, what do? You can schedule an appointment with us, you can come to the office, or you can connect with us and I will provide you information how you can schedule consultation with the resource partner. If you need access to capital, we have different type of loans for your business, and I have flyers at my desk and will be happy to provide you more information. We provide help with the contracting opportunities. If you have a business up and running and you'd like to sell a product or service to, for example, if you're making a furniture or if you're janitorial service and you would like to have a contract with the federal government, we have those certifications and programs and connections so we can train you on how to do this. And supported by technical assistance, we're a very short-staffed office. 3 people in the office. We cover 21 counties. So we invest in consultants, which at no cost to you. Well, actually, it's already prepaid by your taxpayer dollars. So if you need a consultation with someone to go over your business, maybe you're struggling, maybe you need help with how to get more customers, marketing, all of that, you can reach out to us and we can guide you on how to get that one-on-one consultation at no cost. Next slide. Okay, so cybersecurity, this is the overarching topic of this event. SBA have a couple of resources for you, and once you'll get the slides, the links I provided, they're clickable. So what are the resources? I will tell you a little bit more. So once you will click on learn more, SBA has a blog with information And it's not only useful for small businesses, but for individuals as well. How you protect yourself from different cybersecurity attacks. What do you do? What are the steps you take? Because there's a lot of things going on. Even in 2020, over 700,000 small businesses were affected, and $2.8 billion in dollars that was affected their business due to the cybersecurity attacks. So the role of SBA is to educate small businesses and different customers. So we have the blog. Also, we'll have the Cybersecurity Summit, October 16 and October 23. It's online, virtual, and you will have to click on this link to register. What it will give you once you'll register, and on those cybersecurity summits, there will be experts from federal, state agency, private sector. They will be talking about the different cybersecurity measures. We'll be helping you with different resources. You can ask them questions if you're concerned. And it will be also small businesses sharing their best practices for you. So if you will, I was looking at what are the resources we have at SBA to kind of help you and guide you on how to prevent those cybersecurity attacks. Even like with SBA, we deal with small businesses, but we also deal with a lot of identity theft, identity scams. Unfortunately, it's not only affecting big businesses, it's also affecting small and individuals. We have a lot of issue, like SBA is working on to solving identity, how it was stolen. Did you provide information over the phone to somebody who pretended to be from SBA? And did you provide your social security or some banking information? So, and then if you did, so what do you do? How do you report this? So we kind of educate you. So if you're the small business, the four tips, the four main steps the SBA suggests, you have to train your employees because they have access to your email, computer. They will be the one responding to the customers. And if they get a suspicious email, they can click on the link, they can download the attachment. So just educating your employees on the best practices. And on my next slide, you will see there's links, downloadable materials and tips. What do you say to your employees? How do you train them? Yeah, so this link, the SBA trainings and different resources, and the SBA partnership with different organizations, so they provide you at no cost training. And on the backup one slide, okay, so the next, the putting system in place to backup critical business data, you need to backup your systems. And it's the common practices, the use antivirus software and keep it updated automatically. And there's a lot of different solutions and secure networks, backup your critical data. Also make sure your passwords that's at least 12 characters long. It can be something that familiar to you. It can be a sentence. Like for example, I love country music, but you want to make sure you will put all this like the special characters, gaps, just only not one sentence. And don't use this example, use different one, okay? Just be cautious when you talk to somebody over the phone, and if they say they're from SBA, you got the loan, or they ask you, they send you information about this charity, or about different investment opportunities, always be skeptical. And if you will get the email right now from SBA with even our logo and everything, and because with the AI, I was talking to the gentleman this morning, before you would think like, oh, maybe there's something skeptical, the font doesn't look legit, or maybe there's mistakes. But now with AI, everything will be perfect, and there will be no like grammars, misspellings, because they can fix this. So you always be skeptical, especially when people ask you for unsolicited requests for information. Reach out to us, to SBA directly, call our office and say, hey, I got this email, I'm not sure if it's SBA. Can you check, can you verify? So we'll be happy to work with you. Always be skeptical, especially when people are requesting for information. And next slide. So yeah, use this cybersecurity register. I'm sure you will get lots of good information, and we have in-person and virtual cybersecurity events with SBA partner with different resource partners at no cost to you as well. Next slide. So how many of you here are small business? Okay, okay. How many of you shop local and you have your favorite local small business? Do you have your, okay, like What do you like? What's your favorite small business?
Simple coffee.
Okay, coffee roasters, right? How about like the bakery, right? Where so there is a lot of small businesses around, and SBA we're now accepting nominations because we'd like to recognize, especially local, maybe family owned, maybe just people that are starting their business, the veteran owned, woman owned small businesses. So if you know someone and you like them, you can send their nominations, you can nominate them, and you get the links on how to submit the nominations. And I know it's a little bit paperwork, but reach out to me and I'll be happy to provide you guidance on how to do it. Okay, next slide. So SBA, we found these 4 different resource partners in our counties, and this is how you can get local assistance at no cost. You can click on this link once you get the slide, or you can connect with me and I will tell you who is your nearest resource partners if you need to schedule consultation. And it's not only the business, it can be, it has to be related to like marketing, HR, business plan, and you can just have the idea. Yeah, you could just call them and say like, hey, is this valuable idea? Should I go for it or not? And next slide. So how you will reach out to our office, we're located in Citrus Heights, open to the public. This is how you will schedule appointment with us. We're on X and LinkedIn. We have our district calendar with lots of events we do on how to get yourself ready for a loan, what documents you need. My colleagues do those webinars. And how you start your business. We have a 10-step guide. How you register, how you create your business account, and how you like hire employees, do marketing and all that. We have resources in English and Spanish for small businesses, lots of webinars upcoming, and we have the business resilience guide for small businesses affected by different physical or economic disaster. And we have resources for them as well. And next slide. Stay in touch if you'd like to be subscribed to our newsletter. We have it every Friday. We send to everyone updates on what's going on in the community, what's new. But you will get the slide so you can scan the QR code. And then the next slide, the last one, let us know how we're doing. Our bosses would like to know if this information was valuable to you. But I will have my business cards and more flyers over there. And thank you so much for your attention.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Oksana. Now, if you guys have any questions for Oksana from the SBA or Julia from the FTC, we'll start taking questions. We do have a couple on Zoom real quick, so I'm going to pull those up. If you have any questions, thinking about them, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. And I believe these are for Julia, but how can you recover lost funds?
Well, that's a very difficult question, and may depend on the circumstance, but we recommend that you contact your local law enforcement, let them know what happened, and there may be other agencies and resources that are available. Of course, make reports to the FTC, report fraud.ftc.gov. We certainly track patterns and look for targets there as well.
And the next one, to get offline, do you mean to get off the internet for Julia?
Right. So if you have an infected machine, you want to disconnect that machine from your network before it can infect other machines that are also connected to the network. So you want to take it offline, off the internet, make sure it can't communicate with those other computers that are on your network.
Fantastic. Thank you. Do you have any questions from the audience here in person?
She spoke about wiping devices clean.
Yes.
Juliana or Judy, which is their software. How do you go about wiping clean?
Were you able to hear that, Julia?
No. Could
He
you
was asking
repeat, please?
about, he was asking about when you were talking about wiping devices clean when you're going to get rid of them. Is there a type of software or how is that usually done?
Right, so most devices will have a way to set back to factory defaults. So you can find information on that online. If you Google how to set your particular device back to factory defaults, that will take everything off of your device and make it like a brand new device that was never assigned to you or your account. So that's a really good way to start.
My husband's social security number was found on the dark web, and by the monitoring agency was told to report it to the FTC. And does that benefit us? Or why would we do that?
Were you able to catch that?
Yes, so when you report information about identity theft or about cyber criminals to the FTC, we track all of that information and look for patterns and may be able to bring or recommend enforcement action when appropriate. So even if nobody at the FTC is able to, provide a one-on-one support for your husband, and I can't speak again for the commission or your particular circumstance, that information is immensely valuable to us as an agency because it can give us information on who the criminals are, where we can find those people that are committing fraud in order to either help or find other partner agencies that can get involved and help. All of the information that we collect through our reporting is shared with other law enforcement agencies. So when you submit a report to reportfraud.ftc.gov, that information is compiled, it goes out to other partners, and we all use it to look for trends and try to identify appropriate targets.
So when you give the instruction to go offline, is it ever always best to unplug or shut down? Well, unplug from the internet.
Yeah, that's a great question. So just unplugging your device may not cut your connection to your network entirely. So you want to make sure that your device is off the network entirely. So you can disconnect from different access points. If you have someone that's monitoring your network, they may be able to pick out the computer on the front end and cut it off, but just disconnect your computer entirely from the internet and take it away, segment it off from your network. And do call in experts if you need help and you don't know what to do.
You got another question in there?
So, yeah, on an enforcement, how does the FTC differ from the CPFB as far as enforcement for consumers?
Did you catch that?
No, could you repeat, please?
He was asking about the enforcement. How does the FTC enforce compared to the CPFB?
The CFPB?
Yes.
Right, so we are both consumer protection agencies. We have some overlapping jurisdiction. The FTC has very broad jurisdiction over all unfair or deceptive acts in or affecting commerce. So we are not just looking at consumer financial protection. We have very broad enforcement authority. I can't speak, of course, to how CFPB picks and pursues their cases, but we are partners. We work together regularly, and we have overlapping consumer protection authority.
He's asked, so we should be reporting to both, or consumers should be reporting to both. Is
I
that,
think it's always a good practice to report incidents broadly, and that way any agency, any enforcement authority with appropriate authority can take a look and take action when appropriate.
thank you. Any other questions in person? I don't think I'm seeing anything online. Oh, one more question. Yeah.
She spoke about securing the net for the router. Other than change the name and password, are there any other measures that would achieve that securing the router?
Yeah, did you get that one?
Yeah, the question was about routers.
Yes, other than changing the network name or the password, what other things can people do to secure the router?
Great question. So make sure that you're updating the software that's associated with the router run regular updates. The other thing is routers often come with the encryption feature turned off. So take a look at how your router is configured when you get it up and running, and make sure that encryption feature is turned on.
Any other questions? Awesome, fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to all of the organizations that have been able to partner with us in the event. Supervisor Rich Desmond, Sac Sheriff's Department, High Tech Crimes Bureau, Small Business Administration, as well as the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. Thank you to everyone on Zoom for joining us. Hopefully next time we can do either all Zoom or all in person, but really appreciate you coming in whatever capacity you could. So thank you again so much for coming. Have a great day. The booths will still be here for the next 15 minutes around there, maybe a little longer. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ask them in the back there. So we'll be here again. Thank you so much. Have a great day.